Hi, my name is Chrissy Wainwright. I'm currently the Plone Foundation president, and so today I'm going to talk about what the Plone Foundation is for anyone who is not familiar. So I'll talk about what we do, why we exist, and everything. So at a high level, the Plone Foundation is the organization that protects and promotes Plone. We are a nonprofit organization in the U.S. We designated as a 501c3. We own the code, the trademarks, and the domain names for Plone and entities. And we are a community. I mean, the people that make up the community are very important to the success and culture of the Plone Foundation. So I want to talk a little bit just about how Plone got its start. So Plone itself was founded by Alan Runyon and Alexander Leamy in 1999. The two had met in an online forum for a band called Plone, and they worked together to build an interface on top of Zope, and they named it after the band. So Plone in the early days looked something like this. The screenshot is actually from Plone 3, but I believe Plone 1 looked something very much like this. So Plone quickly grew, became a big community, and became large enough that around 2004, more structure was needed to maintain the product. And so the Plone Foundation was created at that time. The Plone Foundation is organized by our structures that we have a board of directors, a series of teams and committees, some sub-communities. We have plenty of conferences and sprints, and we are supported by sponsors. So I'll talk about each of these a bit more. So the board of directors, we have 7 people plus a non-voting treasurer. The roles that we have are president, vice president, and secretary. So with the individual meetings, the president runs the meetings, the vice president is a backup, and the secretary takes the notes and shares them with the community. The board is renewed each year, and members will vote if there are more than 7 nominations. Each board member will nominate themselves, and if there are more than 7 nominations, then it goes to the community to vote. A lot of times we have just 7 people, and so we run with those 7. But we are all volunteer. None of us get paid for our time on the board. The things that we do, we oversee the community, make sure that everything is running smoothly. We do not make any development decisions about Plone. That is left to the framework team. I mean, there may be some people who are on the board who also work on the framework team, commit code, and that's fine. But the board, we ourselves do not govern anything that has to do with the features in Plone. But we do handle the finances, any legal obligations, and the governance of the community. The foundation is made up of various teams and committees. So like the framework team, like I mentioned, determines what features go into Plone and the future of what Plone is going to look like. We have release managers, membership team that determines who is going to be members in the community because it's based on merit. So they make sure that anyone that submits for membership fulfills the requirements. We have security team, marketing, installers that help get Plone easy for people to install, especially newcomers. Internationalization, because Plone is available in many different languages. So we want to make sure that, especially as new features are put in, that there are translations for those. The admin and infrastructure team manages our systems. We have a person that manages the sponsorships that come in. Also, Plone conference and trainings, those 2 teams kind of go together because the trainings happen at the conference. Plone Classic that manages the classic UI of Plone moving forward. And then documentation to make sure that everything for Plone, for development, and for end users is all documented. Now, out of all of these, only the release managers and the marketing chair receive a travel stipend. Everything else is volunteer. We have some sub-communities. We have Zope is now part of the Plone community. Valto, which is what Plone 6 is going to be on the front end. They are also a sub-community. They manage their own releases and feature management. REST API goes with that. And also Guillotina, which is a headless CMS. So all the teams and communities meet regularly on their own. And then we have a steering circle that meets every 2 months that will gather all of the teams together to make sure that everyone is on the same page and knows what everyone else is doing. It's kind of a stand-up status meeting that we have every 2 months. We also have an annual conference that usually takes place in Europe or the United States, but it has also taken place in Brazil and Japan, and last year was only online. And then symposia, which are smaller localized conferences. So sometimes there'll be one in the US, or there's been some in Japan. I mean, all over the place. And then we also have sprints, which are a focused period of anywhere between 2 and 7 days to work on completing an objective. Sometimes it is working on code and features. Sometimes it's documentation or marketing or working on plone.org. And those happen on their own a lot, but they also usually go with the conferences and symposium. So we have lots of sponsors. These are how we are financially supported to keep the community going. And that money goes towards the sprints, travel stipends, conferences, marketing, operations. So we have premium sponsors, standard, basic. We also have a university sponsor, and we have plenty of individuals who also support us. But overall, the Plone Foundation is an amazing community full of wonderful people. We are a family, and we always enjoy seeing each other. So we hope to see you at future conferences and come and get to know our community.